Hi everybody, welcome to the video instructions on how to do the Unit 1 Scientific Foundations FRQ. Okay, so first up you go and look for the instructions. Answer the following question below. It is not enough to answer the question by just merely listing the facts. You should present a cogent argument based on your critical analysis of whatever the particular scenario is posing. Also use appropriate psychological terminology and write the definitions for each. Ones without the definitions will not be scored a point. Here is the scenario for this particular FRQ. Researchers dropped 200 identical wallets on the sidewalks of a large amusement park. Each wallet contained a driver's license with the name and address of the owner. Each driver's license had a photograph of the owner, which was either an old man, an old woman, a young man, or a young woman. The researchers hypothesized that the photograph and the age of the owner would influence the rate of the return of the wallets. The researchers believed that the wallets with the photograph of the old man and the old woman were left early in the morning, and that the wallets of the photographs of the young man or the young woman were left in the evening. The researchers placed cameras around the park directed at the wallet to watch what the visitors do with each of the wallets. 96 of the 200 wallets, 48%, were turned into the lost and found, as shown below. The visitors or park goers that took the other 104 wallets were videotaped, and the researchers sent those tapes to park security and the police. Identify the following aspects of the study as described above. Okay, so what you want to do now is take a look over here at the different definitions that you're going to be needing to both define and apply to the particular scenario. In this case, the test makers are asking you to define independent variables, dependent variables, confounding variables, what the hypothesis is, so hypothesis, and ethics. Within ethics, confidentiality, protection from harm or discomfort, and debriefing were all matters that came up in this particular experiment. So they need to be defined and spoken about in relation to the experiment with the wallets. Okay? The next thing that you want to do is take a look at the graphic. Notice that it shows that the wallets with the photograph with the old man, 44% returned the wallet. With the old woman, 68% returned the wallet. With the young man, only 33% returned the wallet. And with young women, 62% returned the wallet. Next up, please take notice of the Chug Soda's acronym that we went over in class. Step 1, be mindful that you want everything to be concise, meaning short and sweet. You want to get in there and get out. No flowery writing, no flowery language, no creative writing, just the facts. Okay, clear and concise. H is for handwriting. It counts. You must write neatly and you must write in black or blue ink. In this case, you can use pencil because I'm the one reading it, and I know that you might make some mistakes, and I want you to be able to go back and correct those mistakes. You underline all of the vocab in the scenario. You'll notice when I go over this scenario, I'm going to be using highlighting because there is already a line on the paper and I don't want you to get confused. G, get rid of the intro and the conclusion. We do not have introductory and conclusion paragraphs in AP writing. This is not an English paper. Yes, I am an English teacher, but now I am your AP psychology teacher. And everything that I or your other English teachers have taught you about a good essay needing an introduction or a conclusion is thrown out the window, at least for this assignment. This is not to be mistaken with research assignments, where you would of course need an introduction and conclusion. But for the FRQ on the test, you do not need them. Okay, and for the acronym SOTAs, make sure you put a line between each of the spaces when you're writing your paragraphs and another line between each paragraph, and it wouldn't hurt to indent. O, organize each term in its own little mini paragraph. D, define every term. A, apply that term defined to the concept in the scenario in the question. Don't make up a scenario to explain what the definition means. Use the one that is given to you in your question. And finally, use synonyms throughout the paper for your definitions in order to sound not like the exact thing that was written in the prompt that was given to you. Okay, so that is the acronym that if you follow it for each of the definitions, you will get a full credit score. You might want to make use of the scrap paper that is given to you on page 2 of your answer booklet. Just jot down all of the different definitions that you have to make sure that you not only define, but apply to your particular scenario. So in this case, we have independent variable, dependent variable, confounding variable, hypothesis, data, and ethics. Within ethics, confidentiality, protection from harm or discomfort, and debriefing. All three came up within this scenario. Okay, so right after that, you might want to make that little list on the scrap paper and chug SOTAs, our acronym, so that you can have a little checklist of each to make sure that you complete the task. The answer to the FRQ comes next. Notice that the paragraphs are very small because each one, all you need to do is define it and apply it to your scenario. So let's go through each of the definitions and applications. The first paragraph, the independent variable is the different IDs or pictures on the identification cards. More specifically, the independent variable is the identification card having a picture on it of an old or young man or woman. The dependent variable is what is measured by the researchers, and thus, in this case, it is the percentage of identification cards returned by each gender type or photo, male or female, and age, young or old, inside of the wallets. The most likely confounding variable is the time of day that the wallet was dropped off in the amusement park. A confounding variable is something that you would think is responsible for the results that you're getting. And in this case, because people might be more willing to take a wallet under the cover of darkness, it skewed the data. The researcher's hypothesis or informed prediction is the photograph and the age of the owner would influence the rate of return of the wallet. The data supports this because 68% of the old women's identification cards were returned compared to 44% of the old men's identification cards, and therefore wallets. Similarly, the young men and women data showed that 62% of young women's cards were returned compared to 33% of young men's identification cards, and therefore wallets. When it comes to ethics, this experiment does not follow the ethics set forth in the APA, or American Psychological Association's guidelines, which are the rules that researchers must follow when performing an experiment. There is also no mention of the researchers contacting their regional institutional review boards, IRBs. They broke a major rule of confidentiality because the researchers did not keep the participants' or the park visitors' personal information confidential when they released the tapes to the park security and the police department. Furthermore, this experiment is not ethical because the researchers did not keep the participant or park visitors from harm or discomfort when they released the tapes to the park security and police department because the participants' long-term negative consequences, including setting them up for being arrested when they were possibly going to mail the wallets back to their rightful owners once they were able to get to the post office in the days that followed. And finally, this experiment was not ethical because the researchers did not debrief the participants by revealing the information about the research and correcting any misimpressions that it may have created. The study was indeed flawed because the researchers did not account for the return rate after the unknowing participants left the park. Had they contacted their IRBs, they could have saved this experiment. And that's it. That's all I got. That's all you have to do, and you get a full credit score. Have a great weekend. Don't forget, we don't have school Monday, but do yourselves a favor and get this done as soon as you watch this. It shouldn't take you more than a half an hour, maybe an hour, since it's the first time you're doing it. Alrighty, bye-bye, guys.